When Jesus said, if you want to be great in my Father's kingdom, you have to be the slave of everyone, only one thing came to mind: foot washer. And here's the kind of the conclusion on this whole thing. Going back to when Jesus was about to wash Peter's feet, and Jesus said, Peter, you don't realize what I'm doing right now, but later you'll understand. I go back to, here's the triclinium table. And I said, Peter was over here, but that Jesus told Peter to sit here because Peter wanted to sit up here. He wanted to sit in the best seats in the house. It's interesting that over in Mark chapter 9, as Jesus was struggling once again with his disciples, arguing about who is the greatest, he gets in the middle of them and he says, do you want to know who is the greatest in my Father's kingdom? The greatest in my Father's kingdom is the servant of all. And we sing songs about that. But literally, the slave of everyone, if you transliterate what Jesus is saying. Now, that comes across as an abstraction, and we can do all kinds of sermons on that. But to the disciples who didn't abstract well, they understood a specific in this. In any household, whether it was Roman that owned slaves or Jews that actually had sort of indentured servitude, but a little bit different than slaves, they had to be freed at the year of Jubilee and all of that, you had an order of slaves in your household, from the chief steward of the household. If you've ever seen the movie Ben-Hur, that would be Simonides in the movie Ben-Hur, played by Sam Jaffe, who was the head steward of Judah Ben-Hur's household, all the way down to washerwomen, educators, cooks, field workers, field hands, garbage disposal. And then finally, at the very bottom of the rung of the ladder, you had the foot washing servants or slaves. So in other words, you had ranks of slaves from, say, generals all the way down to privates, which were your foot washers. They knew about the ranks of slaves. And when Jesus said, if you want to be great in my Father's kingdom, you have to be the slave of everyone, only one thing came to mind: foot washer. Well, bringing it back to Peter, he wanted to sit up here. He resents being here. He's there for whatever reason, but he resents being. And I think Jesus put him there because Peter wanted to sit in the best seat in the house. You don't realize what I'm doing right now, but later you'll understand that that is the best seat in the house. That's why I put you there. So it rewrites our whole Christian ethic in our Western world that says, climb to the top. Jesus says, I'm going to the very bottom in order to lift people up. And that's your works of righteousness. But there is a result of our encounter with Jesus Christ and our salvation and the transformation he makes in our lives.